Donald Trump does all sorts of awful things. And oftentimes when you watch Fox News, you just think that they're in on it. They understand that Trump is doing awful things and they're bad people, so they make excuses for it. But every once in a while, Brian Kilmeade will say something. He'll ask a question that makes you wonder, is Brian Kilmeade a bad guy or is he just dumb? This morning on Fox and Friends, Brian Kilmeade actually blasted Donald Trump's incredibly stupid tweet announcing that he would halt negotiations between Nancy Pelosi and the GOP on another round of stimulus during this pandemic. Watch.
For the president to come out with a tweet like that with the market still open, just crash the market and cost people a lot of money, knowing that an hour before Federal Chairman Jerome Powell put out this statement, they're warning that failing to inject more federal help into the economy would risk weakening the tenuous recovery. Yeah. The country needs stimulus checks. Airlines needs help. And of course, you have 30,000 people who are about to lose their jobs and be furloughed through no fault of their own. The tourist industry, the hospitality industry have been destroyed. If you work in a hotel, you don't need me to tell you that. So get the PPP program financed again. They have to find a way to work out this thing behind closed doors, because riding the markets, it does nothing but have people lose money and gets people extremely stressed. And with the market closed, the president says, let's do this again. I understand negotiating tactics, but not at this point. I actually think the president now has more pressure on him now than he had before his first tweet, because Nancy Pelosi clearly could turn around and say, well, it's not my fault, I was having talks. So it looks like the president's the one to blame now. But I don't know how he has leverage.
So Nancy Pelosi actually did do what Brian Kilmeade outlined in that video. And what I love is just this whole, but why would the president do that? And it's the second time in recent weeks that Kilmeade had these types of questions. One of the earlier examples was following the first presidential debate where Donald Trump refused to condemn white supremacists. Here's how Brian Kilmeade responded to that.
Donald Trump blew the biggest layup in the history of debates by saying not condemning white supremacists. I don't know if he didn't hear it, but he's got to clarify that right away. That's like, are you against evil? Why the president didn't just knock that out of the park, I'm not sure.
So John, we must adjudicate this incredibly critical and important question. Is Brian Kilmeade a bad guy like everyone else at Fox, or is he just dumb?
Right? Like, this is no, make your case. Make your case.
Well, I mean, I would argue that individuals who are evil and in cahoots with Donald Trump recognize what he's doing. They justify what he's doing. They're never surprised by it. If you look at the two other, dweebs on Fox and Friends, they're just like, what is it? Like, you can see it in their expressions. Like, why is he asking this question? Like, of course Trump doesn't want another round of stimulus. He doesn't want to help average Americans. Get out of here. But Kilmeade is like genuinely like perplexed. It's like, but why? This is wrong, Mr. President. So I just feel like he's kind of this goofy, kind of, he's both. I think he's probably both.
I think it's unsatisfying. I'm sure Brett is not satisfied by that as an answer. It's tough. I think, look, you look at Fox as a whole, and obviously as a whole, it's awful. And they push white supremacy, they lie to people, they stoke xenophobia, and all the worst predilections of Americans they help to spread. But I think that if you were to create a tier list of Fox hosts, which I might have to do, I think he's definitely on the lowest end. Like not quite as far as like a former Shep Smith or something like that. And I'm sure I'm forgetting because there's so many things, horrible things that he's said and done. And he can be pretty full of himself and stuff like that. But when you compare it to like a Jesse Waters or to a Greg Gutfeld, he's clearly not that sort of person. He's not Tucker Carlson. He's not Sean Hannity. He's not Laura Ingraham. Him and Steve Doocy, different, probably on about the same level. And I know that he has, like, hasn't Cenk talked on the show about how Kilmeade has like talked to him in person and said like, hey, why'd you say that about me? Like, and like, No, but I say that because like Sean, maybe, but like Sean Hannity wouldn't care because it's all a grift, and getting the other side to hate you is part of it. The fact that Brian Kilmeade apparently doesn't want that implies to me that maybe he's kind of bad, but he's honestly kind of bad. He's not Tommy Lauren, where it's like a media creation that she and her publicist dreamed up. Like that's still bad, and it still supports the power structure of white nationalism and all of that. But it's not as bad. It's not as bad. Somewhat dumb, somewhat bad.
Well, I feel that we haven't properly adjudicated this. You made good points, but maybe in the future we'll have some other examples to turn to, just to provide some further evidence so we can make a solid determination here.
But they did do a poll on Twitch of Brian Kilmeade, and Big Dum Dum got 84% of the vote. The rest went to Secret Monster. So they're not waffling, even if maybe we in the end were. But we only waffled because we're trying to be reasonable, and this isn't a very clear-cut case.
Yeah, I want to be fair. I mean, you have to be fair when you're trying to determine whether someone is dumb or evil. So, got to do my due diligence.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.